with a special guest. Last week, if you guys were here, I think it was Friday, I talked Loki with some people. Ren could not make it because it was like a random middle of the night time. I don't even know, time for him. So, I love everything that he has to say about these shows, everything in general, but like our theorizing. So I was like, I have to have him on so that we can actually talk about Loki. So today we're going to talk about Loki. Then we're going to talk a little bit about something that the social embargo and review embargo dropped today. No spoilers, but we will talk about Masters of the Universe Revelation Part 1 as well. But before we get into all that, Ren, why don't you let everyone know where they can find you?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I'm also very excited to talk Loki and talk some He-Man, Masters of the Universe Revelation. You guys can find me on Instagram, it's RenViera93, more of a personal account, but I always let you know what I'm watching, when I'm watching it, and on Letterboxd, Twitter, and YouTube at Ren Geekness, where we talk all things geek, all things movie, and we love the movies, and we love each other. Or at least I want people to do that.
At least that's the plan.
That's the intention.
There's some people in the comments that don't love it, even themselves, apparently. But no. I do see talking over here about, a little late today. Well, Ren had a screening earlier today, really exciting. I'm super jealous. And then I was wrapping up. I still didn't get to finish it, but
you can say what it is. I don't know if you were avoiding say what it is. You can say what it is. I just can't give a review.
Jungle Cruise. I get to see it on Thursday night, so a couple more days for me, but I'm really excited.
That's tomorrow, or is the other Thursday?
It's 2 days for me. Right? No, today's tomorrow. Okay. Today's Wednesday. Look,
today's Wednesday for you too. Just a little bit earlier than me.
So tomorrow night. Yes, tomorrow night. Yes.
Yeah. Maybe when I actually watched the movie, it was Tuesday for you.
Right. That's what it was. I don't know. Listen, I don't know days anymore. The world is crazy. But so Jungle Cruise, which I'm super excited. You're getting me even more excited about it because I was very cautiously optimistic about this one. That's how I'm going into it. Cautiously.
You know what? I was excited because it's the type of movie I enjoy, but it could go, okay, it's just gonna be fine, or it's gonna be real awful.
Yeah. Right, exactly.
I'm not going to say anything else.
You can't say words.
No.
But
no words.
No words. But so let's talk about Loki. So
yay.
Look, here's Ted coming in with, I am telling you, the theorizing.
He could be. He still could be.
You never know. Right. He's
multiverse. Maybe in one of the timelines he actually is.
Listen, that's the thing with Loki, the thing that I love so much about what they did here in the finale, and I've talked everybody on here's ears off before, but I do want your opinions on it. But what I love is that they have now made it so that they can literally do whatever they want. That's what I feel like. The way this ended was like, we can do whatever we want and it's going to work. But like, what did you think of the season as a whole, but mostly like, let's talk about the finale first.
This is my favorite show out of the three they've done so far. I can't say by far because WandaVision is also very good. I also really enjoy Falcon and Winter Soldier, but definitely, like without a shadow of a doubt, Loki is the best one. I love this show. There is a weaker link amongst the 6 episodes, but I wouldn't call it a weak link or a weakest link. There's just an episode I'm like, that was solid, but I'll watch any of the other 5. Yeah, episode 3. Yeah. I'll watch any of the other 5 before this one. But everything else, it was just banger after banger after banger. And we all noticed this because we kept chatting about it. We all noticed this ever since the first 2 episodes. One episode begins, everything has changed by the end of the episode, and then second episode happens again. Episode 3, we get a little bit of information, so there's not a drastic change. Then episode 4, it happens again. Episode 5, it happens again. And episode 6, it happens again on a massive scale. That doesn't just affect Loki, doesn't just affect this season, doesn't just affect season 2. It affects the entire future of what we've been loving for the past 13 years.
I know.
And I know this feels redundant to say, but Loki is truly a comic book show. I felt like this was a moving comic, panel for panel, like the shot compositions, like that final shot when Loki sees his variants at the end of time. It's like, okay, that's how you end a comic book.
Right.
The episode 5 when they walk through the portal, that's how you end a comic book.
Yeah.
And even how they introduce not Kang, I refuse to call him that. the He Who Remains and Jonathan Majors. My God, we could have just an hour chatting about Jonathan Majors. Just comic book panel. The colors, the use of color. Because my favorite part of that episode, of the last episode, if we're focusing on that a little bit, is that when they're having that conversation, yes, it's exposition, but it's told in such an interesting way with such interesting visuals, and I love the colors. The cinematography was spectacular in the entire show, but in that final scene, like the colors changing from purple to green, like who has control, who's going to win this battle for status of power. I thought it was riveting. It's a fascinating show, especially now going back knowing what's going to happen. I still have to do that, but I'm betting it gets even better. I'm super excited for the MCU. I saw a headline that says that Loki makes the MCU exciting again. Yeah. I don't agree with how that's phrasing, because it was already exciting.
Yeah, that's bad.
But it makes the MCU even more exciting, but like by miles than it already was, for me at least.
Yeah, no, I think it's because it feels like anything that they do now, they can make it actually make sense, right? Because before you're like, okay, they can do this, but like, how are they going to make it make sense? And this was the perfect way to be like, we just flipped everything upside down. And by the way, anything we do now is totally canon. Like, is What If going to?
It doesn't have to make sense now.
It's crazy. I feel like What If at first I thought was like fun. This is going to be a fun animated thing, and now I'm like, is this totally going to be all the different timelines that you get, like canon?
Yeah,
it's crazy.
And I think I should save this for a theory video, but what the hell? I'm going to say that right now. I think What If might be more connected to the to the sacred timeline that we know more than we thought. Because something that I not that I noticed, because it might not be true, but I thought the trailer for What If was alluding to is that we're going to see Doctor Strange traveling through all these different timelines. And I think after season 1, that connects to what we'll see after in Spider-Man Far From Home, and then on Multiverse of Madness. I think What If actually starts with Doctor Strange as Sylvie stabs He Who Remains.
That would make sense.
Yeah, even if it is anime. I think because we saw Doctor Strange, and we saw evil Doctor Strange. Then we see Doctor Strange talking to Captain Carter. Now there's rumors she's going to be in Doctor Strange, which is awesome.
I know.
We're in that sucky yet exciting moment where what is going on? I have no idea. I want to see it.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what it is, and that's why I just love that we have this, because it's a perfect way to reboot the we had the Infinity Saga, and it was fantastic. It's over. So where do we go from here? And this is the perfect way to revitalize. That's the word I was looking for. Revitalize everything.
Yeah.
And it's still so good. Listen, Ted says how the Duck Sorcerer, Supreme Sorcerer. Listen, I'd be cool with that.
It's possible. It's possible. It's one episode. You can do it.
It's true. It could literally be. That's the thing about this, is like you get so much, and it's so incredible, and I'm so excited.
And honestly, if they're doing this now after Endgame, my mind immediately goes, well, what are they going to do after the next 13 years? What are they going to do in 2034? If we're all still here to see it, who knows? But if they're going this crazy now, okay, what's the whatever the next big bad coming is going to be? And who would be the next big bad? You got Kang. They got to pull Galactus.
Yeah, Galactus would be cool.
But I think they got to pull Galactus before that. Like when the Fantastic Four comes, you can only burn so much time before introducing him. But maybe these 13 years will not be 13 years. Maybe they'll be just 7 years, and we'll be done with Kang in 2028 or something.
Well, speaking of 2028, isn't that when Kevin says he has plans through 2028? So maybe.
Yeah, true.
Oh, man, this is just so exciting. Dr. Doom, says Ted. Oh, we're definitely going to be getting Dr. Doom. 100%. He's got to come along with the Fantastic.
Even though it wasn't him, I still believe that castle was inspired by Latvian architecture.
Yeah, I can see that. Listen.
Look at us. Yeah, look at us talking about architecture in a comic book show. Who thought we'd be here?
It's crazy. That's what these shows have done for us. You know what I mean? Like, think of every little thing. Like, what could this be? I'll tell you what, I really love, and I don't think we might have talked about this in the chat, but I've been on so many Loki lives that I don't even know when I talked about this and whatnot, but totally, and I'm sure you agree with me, but don't you feel like as soon as He Who Remains was stabbed, that's when Wanda heard the kids? Gotta be, right?
I've heard some theories, and that makes sense. I still prefer to think until it's confirmed that it is that, or that it was the stabbing. I still prefer to think that Wanda has the power to cross through other timelines and doesn't need that. But it would all add up. This was the one show that Feige didn't say, "Oh, this is connected to all those movies and shows." He said WandaVision, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange are like, okay, so let's disregard Loki, and boom.
That was so smart. He totally did that on purpose. He's like,
for
don't
sure,
worry about
for
Loki.
sure.
And now we're like, wait, what? And they're going to do a season 2, which is like they had confirmed, but then kind of like dialed back on it and pretended they never confirmed it. And then now it's confirmed. Because I was like, I feel like I knew there was a season 2.
That's the thing I only found out from you, because I didn't know they had backtracked. I only knew that they were like, yes, we're gonna have season 2, and it's the same writer for Loki, for Doctor Strange, for Feige's Star Wars film, and I'm like, okay, I'm really excited for Loki now. And now after season 1, I'm saying exactly the same thing. Okay, now I'm really excited for Loki.
I know. Can you imagine? You know, I mean, man, it makes me excited for that Star Wars. Like, really excited.
Let's not get started on that, because I have no idea what it is, and it's already top 3 most anticipated Star Wars things.
We know literally nothing about it except 2 people.
That's Feige? Okay, it's gonna go well.
Right, that's true. I know. I'm really, really excited for it. Man, but Jonathan Majors, let's talk a little bit about Jonathan Majors. I know that, you know, I feel like we could talk for like 5 hours about him and his performance. But what I love about him, first of all, the way when he showed up was just like, oh, they're doing this. Because I thought we were going to get Mephisto again. You know, I thought they're not going to do it.
Oh, really?
I did. I thought for sure. They hinted at it. I thought we'd get a little fine, I'll do it myself type, you know, like Thanos when he said, fine, I'll do it myself. I thought we'd get a little Kang at the very end, maybe not even see him. I thought for sure was not going to be him. So when he showed up, I was like, oh, like, I know he was cast as Kang, and now he's like, here, this is crazy. Like, what's happening?
Same color scheme. And
then he's just eating an apple. And
that was one of my favorite parts, because they didn't waste time. Whoever was going to be behind that door, like 10 minutes, maybe less into the episode, it's like, here it is. Here's the thing. Whatever you've been waiting for, let's spend as much time as we can in the final episode with whoever this character is. I love this performance. I love this garb. I love how unexpectedly quirky and lively he was, because, again, he wasn't Kang, but we're all expecting him to be Kang, whatever happens. And so when he's acting like that, I'm like, this is weird, but I like this. And then he's a variant, which I think it's the most obvious yet genius idea to present this character. Yes, let's present a character who is not the most powerful version of him, who is not the most evil version of him, who is someone who's afraid of the most powerful version of himself, but he's a variant, just like every other character in this show, just like we've been setting this up since the beginning. It was one of those obvious things. It's so obvious we don't see it standing right in front of us. We only see what we want to see. And my favorite part about it, though, and I want to see if you agree, because I haven't talked about this with anyone, but he talks about, well, whether you kill me or not, bad things are going to happen. I'll just either end up here or you'll take care of this. But I felt, and I didn't even talk about this on my review, but I felt a shiver down my spine, because I think it's absolutely scary to see someone who is so unafraid of the possibilities. He knows the world may end if they kill him. He still doesn't care. He knows he may die and they take over. He still doesn't care. I think it's fascinating how they presented this character, and it's not even the guy we should be afraid of.
I know. And the fact that he just slips into like, he's so weird and quirky, and then he's like, wait till you see the other versions of me. Blah, 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 blah. And you're like, whoa, like he's so good, right?
So good.
The way he played this all the way through. But you're right, he gives you that little bit of what we're gonna get with Kang, or maybe not even all the way, but you get a little hint at like, ooh, when he's like Kang, like he's gonna be so good. And then he goes off his quirky self and takes it away, and then goes back to that, and you're like, oh, he's so good.
And I bet you were going to recognize a lot of this character in the quote-unquote, the ultimate Kang that we get. Because throughout this first season of Loki, yes, all the Lokis were very different, but they have at least one thing in common. And I think we're going to see that in Kang as well. Whatever other versions we see of him, because we know we're getting several. And after Loki, it makes sense that they put him in Ant-Man and the Wasp. Because before Loki, we were all questioning, okay, what is he going to do in Ant-Man and the Wasp? Because he does this, and Ant-Man and the Wasp just die. It's that easy. But now, maybe it's not Kang. Maybe it's another Immortus. Maybe it's Ramatut. Maybe it's a not Franklin. Nathan Richards?
Yeah.
Nathaniel Richards.
Nathaniel, yeah. Yep. Yeah. It's crazy. Or what's his name from Young Avengers? Oh my God, what's his
Iron Lad.
Yes, right.
Yeah. True.
He's gonna show up eventually. I'm sure it's not gonna be Jonathan Majors, but like they're gonna have him as a I don't know. This is just again, infinite possibilities.
Infinite possibilities. And I think, I'm thinking too much about this already, but I think maybe the quantum realm has several quantum realms, and maybe that's how they find a Fantastic Four, because I still believe Marvel is stealing my idea.
They will. They're going to take it. But you're right, though. Like, it could be, goodness gracious, there's so many things. And this is why I love talking to you about this stuff, because you always, like, open my eyes to more things. And I
love talking to you.
It's too much, though. It's too much. It's too much. Because now my brain is like,
too many good possibilities. That's the thing.
That is the thing. There's so much. And like you said, it was so obvious. Of course, he was going to be a variant of Kang. Like,
yeah,
obviously. But we were like, oh, it's going to be Kang. Like, no one thought to even, I doubt anybody really figured out it was going to be like a variant.
Because I went in, we, on Geeks of the Roundtable, we talked about this. We gave like the top 3 who's going to be on the castle on the last episode. And I still said the most likely character is Kang. Then I would say a variant of Loki, a King Loki.
Yeah.
And then I bet on Doctor Doom, but I gave it like a 5% chance. Because maybe, but not really. But they're not really going to do. And they did give us Kang. But they didn't. It's exactly the same thing they did with Thanos, but they're doing the execution is different. Here's the big bad that we're gonna see in the future, but we're not gonna see the whole of him. We're not gonna see what he's truly capable of, and I love what they're doing. Now we know we're gonna get the same thing on the next big bad. We're gonna sprinkle him in little by bit, a different way than we're doing right now.
Oh man! And so, do you think? Going off topic of Loki for a minute, but Eternals. So do you think this is what made them want to, they say they sat by and watched everything and didn't, was this like the final, like, crap, we have to get involved?
It's gotta be, because we know it is, well, directly speaking, we know it's because of a deviant. The deviant comes out. How did the deviant get loose? Weren't the deviants dead, and that's why they settled in this tiny little planet of ours and helped us out? And maybe now with the timeline, oh crap, they're back.
Wait.
And I still believe at least 3 of them are going to die, because the MCU will not keep all 10 new characters. I'm just absolutely sure. Like, I love the MCU, and as far as I'm concerned, keeping them all around, I'm going to love them all. I think.
That's a lot.
But I don't think they're introducing 10 new characters, and that's just the main Eternals, not to mention supporting characters that are in that film.
That's true. That's fair.
And they're not going to keep them around. I still think 3 of them are going to die. At least 3, if not 5. They're not going to kill most of them.
That's awful. 5. Chris asked, do we think this is going to start a Kree Skrull war? I mean, I would love to see Kree Skrull war like played out. I would love that.
as soon as I read the question, the thing that came to my mind was we're getting Secret Invasion, and maybe we're going to get it the other way around. So now the Skrulls are the good guys, and I don't know how they do Secret Invasion with the Skrulls not being bad guys. But now we have universes where the Skrulls are bad guys. And I hadn't even thought about it until I read the question, so thank you, Chris.
Yeah, I didn't think about that till right now. That's a very fair point that we have that now. See? This is why this show is such... Oh my god, because I was upset because I love Secret Invasion, and I was always like, but how are we going to really fully capture Secret Invasion without...
I still think that even if this Loki finale hadn't happened the way it did, I still think it could have happened, because it'd be the same thing as saying all humans are good or all humans are bad. Like, I'm sure there are evil Skrulls, even if they turn them quote-unquote good. Just like in the comics, there are good Skrulls.
Right, that's true. There are ones that just kind of want to go about their own business and not be involved in anything.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's true. Look, Dash also says it's time for Adam Warlock to show up. Listen, I'm dying for Adam Warlock. I can't wait for Adam Warlock, because ever since he was teased at the end of Guardians 2, it's been killing me. It's been too long. But this
I still think Guardians 3. I still think they're lying to us. Because James Gunn is saying no. But I still believe he's doing a J.J. Abrams.
Yeah, because it has. I feel like I don't know that I'd want anyone to write for Adam Warlock besides James Gunn, to be perfectly honest with you. I mean, sure, but like this feels like a good. Although we don't know.
Yeah, it feels fitting.
It feels like a good fit.
Yeah, because he did introduce him. Like, if he hadn't introduced him, I'd say that tons of other people could write him in or bring him in. But why not pull that trigger? Because you just loaded the gun on Guardians of the Galaxy 2. No pun intended on loading the gun.
I know, that was good though. I like that.
I realized that too late.
Man, I'm just so excited for what the future holds. And I think Loki, I mean, I always was, but I think the way this ended, because now I'm even looking at like every single thing. Like I said, Eternals, I started to rethink like, oh, is this the event that Eternals? Because at first I was thinking, is it the snap? But it couldn't have been the first snap. It would have had to be the second snap, because obviously we would have seen them unless this takes place in between Infinity War and Endgame. And you just get this whole like, when will they fit? And now it's like...
I mean, it is taking place over a span of 1,000 years,
true.
So we could see a little sprinkler of in between those movies.
Right, that's true. I don't know. I'm just excited. Oh, Ronnie's here. Hey, Ronnie.
Hey.
You're fine. Don't listen. I'm glad you're
gardening. That's awesome.
I know. That's nice. We have started a little vegetable garden. That's totally off topic, but we started a little vegetable garden a couple weeks ago, and it's doing so well. And the girls love going out there and checking on their stuff. We've got like carrots and peppers and tomatoes and all that fun stuff.
Nice.
But yeah, so let's I feel like we could talk about this all day, but I do want to switch over bam to Masters of Revelation. Listen, today embargo broke, so we get to talk about it, and my review is up. Ren's review is up, which his review is fantastic. I agree with pretty much every single thing he said. Of course, we're going to keep this spoiler free, so don't worry, guys. But one question I got a lot was people asking, do they have to know the original? And I immediately was like, absolutely not. I don't think so. I think you can go into this and just kind of enjoy it for what it is. And you might want to go back and learn about some of the characters after watching it. What do you think, Ren? You think this is like a you must know the original series show?
No, because I didn't know. I mean, I knew of the original show, but I never watched it. I'm a 90s kid, so I didn't grow up when the show was on in the 80s. So I knew of He-Man. I knew he had a sword and he transformed into a muscular version of himself. I knew Skeletor. I had some figures of the 2002 show. But I never, and I know I watched it, but I have absolutely no memory of it. So I knew the basic concepts. Okay, He-Man has powers, Skeletor is evil. I knew names of certain characters, though I didn't know all of them, as I was proven right in the show that I didn't know most of them. I was like, who the hell is Teela? I never heard of Teela. But this show is very, very welcoming. The first episode is... hey, here's the gist of this thing, and while they're doing that, they're multitasking and introducing you to the story that's going to unfold. So I think it's a very welcoming show to new viewers. I think it's a very welcoming show for old viewers, but who am I to say that? And it's just an awesome, badass show with the most incredible score of the year thus far by Bear McCreary.
The score is so good. It's so...
I was headbanging throughout the episodes.
Yeah,
then I was like, no, actually watch it. Actually watch it. Stop it, Ren.
You gotta do it once just to listen to the score and then once to actually watch it.
Yes.
It's so... But I agree with you because I watched it a little bit. I didn't watch the whole thing. I would watch it. I mean, that was back before, you could just binge a whole series by popping it on. It was like if you sat in front of the TV when it was on, you got to watch it. If you didn't, you didn't get to watch it. So it was one of those ones where I saw, I probably saw 20 plus episodes of it. It's not like I didn't really actually watch it. But, and I kept telling myself when I knew this was coming out, I'll go back and I'll watch it and and I never did. But I really, really enjoyed this. I thought, like you said, it does a good job of catching you up if you have literally no idea about it. And I really like something that I know a lot of people don't like, but I liked them putting the females at the forefront of this, obviously as a mom and of two girls and a woman myself. But what I really enjoyed about that is these women actually look like they can hold a sword. Whereas so many 80s animated girls, they would pick it up and they'd fall over. There's no way they could hold a sword that big. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. And I like the execution of this show, but there is a bittersweet taste to me. Not because of who they put at on the forefront, but just because they put anyone else at the forefront.
Right.
That's all I'm going to say.
Right.
Just to make it clear that I don't have a problem with Tila, and I think how they do it, how they execute it, she's a great character. Man at Arms is a great character.
Oh, I love
the secret show stealer for me was Orco, and I know that's shocking because I know the people who watch the original show, Orco was annoying. He was nothing. And I had that notion too, even though I never watched it. And I was like, okay, Orco is going to be that funny, maybe not so funny sidekick. And he stole the entire show for me. Not the entire show, part one. The first 5 episodes, they belong to Orco. Cringer, I didn't talk about Cringer in my review. I love animals. Whenever animals are cute, whether they're cartoon or not, Cringer has such a sweet moment with Tila in this. I think it's episode 2. It's so good.
I know what you're talking about.
So good.
Too. I loved him in this too. But Orco, yes, I'm so glad you said that because I loved Orco in this, and Orco did annoy me originally. I remember that him being he can't even do anything right, and he's super annoying, and he's trying to be funny and he's not, but he's so good in this, and I loved him so much. And Evil Lynn, I really loved Evil Lynn in this. I think her arc is incredible in these first 5 episodes.
Episodes 3 and 4, if I remember correct. Maybe just 4, but I think 3 and 4, those two, Evil Lynn and Orco, it's, oh man, so good.
It's so good.
I love it so much.
I tell you, the whole voice cast for this is just amazing. I think everyone did
It's insane.
Job. It's crazy. Mark friggin' Hamill, are you kidding me? And he's so good.
So good. And I will tell you this. I love Mark Hamill. He's Luke Skywalker. He's the Joker. He'll forever be legendary. I was afraid this was going to be he's going to do Joker, but as Skeletor.
Oh, yeah.
They have similarities, the characters. Whoever ended up making the voice, it would be similar if you end up casting the same actor or anyone who's played the Joker or Skeletor at one point. But it's very different. He carries so much in his performance. He's an expert voice actor, which he had to become because unfortunately he didn't get many roles in live action after Star Wars. Unfortunately, even though he's a great actor, but he does a really great job. He's of all the Skeletors I've heard speaking, he's probably the best one. Chris Wood is awesome as He-Man and I forget his human name. Prince Adam.
Prince Adam. Yeah.
Spoiler, they're one and the same.
I know. That's what I said in mine too, and I like how you said it in yours because, like, I don't know if I mean, I feel like everyone knows this, even if you didn't watch He-Man, but like they explain it in the first like second of the show. Anyways, so don't worry. But like, let's see. Did Kevin Smith write all of the episodes, or is he just a showrunner? I think he had a hand in writing all of them.
I think he had a hand in writing, but I don't know if he's the main writer. I'll check. I'll check on IMDb as we go.
Yeah, but he did a fantastic job. There was another one I wanted to put up here. Yes, that I'm glad the ladies are in the forefront. The original was about He-Man. I do think that the next part, I think, will have other people that they didn't spend as much time with, spending more time with those people in part 2. I think the way that it ended, it feels like maybe, but it's hard to say without a spoiler, so I'm not going to. But I feel like there's going to be a way that they're going to do that, if I'm making any sense. If you know what I mean.
I agree with you. I have that feeling too, because I just made this comparison yesterday on our chat. Think Infinity War and Endgame. You focus on a certain group of characters on Infinity War, and then you have a different group of characters you focus on Endgame. Not that the stories are the same. That's not a spoiler. Right. I'm just saying the shift is similar.
Yeah, right. The shift in who you're focusing on. And I thought there were so many great character arcs in this. And I think
so good.
The overall, I'm trying to say this without like being super spoiler. I'm trying to think of how I worded it in my review, but just the overall lesson of like accepting yourself as you by yourself without connecting you to other people. If you know what I mean, like you're on a journey, sure, with like one person and you guys are like this and whatever. But when you have to really think inside yourself and who you are and really go down your own path, I really, really enjoyed that part of this. I think that kind of makes sense with 2 characters in particular.
And that applies, I think, to most of the characters, if not all. Like the fact that they focus a lot, on some of them a lot, on others they just give a quick spotlight to, which is still great. Yeah, they give a lot of focus to 2 villains in particular, and they give a lot of focus to the relationships of these characters, because I've never seen the actual show, but I've seen enough, and all 80s, some of 90s cartoons were like this. The characters were simple. They were just there to be badasses, not to have emotions. They were just there to kick butt and be heroes, and the other guys were supposed to be villain, and they'd lose, and then they come back again next week on the next episode. In this, you actually have emotions. You actually have compelling motivations. You actually explore what drives these people, the struggles they've been through. Again, especially 2 particular characters that talk it out and then have an awesome team up. I think I can say that.
That's good. I know exactly. I know it. I think you only really know if you've seen it, so that's good.
Yes,
that's a great way to describe it. But you're right, and there's so much. The thing that I loved about this too is, I mean, Andra there, she's literally a throwaway comic book character that I think is in 1 book, and now she's in every episode. She wasn't even in the original show. Scareglow was never in the show.
Oh, Scareglow is new too.
Yeah, Scareglow was just a figure. Like, was never even in the show, which is crazy. They were like, here's a cool character that we can make into a figure.
He is cool.
He's very cool.
Tony Todd, man.
Oh, I have my
Candyman
him up if you guys haven't seen it yet. But
it's good. It's really good.
Oh, he was so good. Oh, well, thank you. But yeah, he was so good in that episode. You know what I'm talking about. I don't want to like fully, but just he's so good. And that's the thing, the testament to these voice actors and just how well they portrayed these characters and taking people that were obscure, not even in the show, and giving them a story arc is just fantastic.
Yeah, I'm with you. All these characters, I'm like, oh, this is an interesting person. Oh, that is an interesting person. You are interesting people, after all. I didn't talk about this one, but I thought we should bring him up. Man-at-Arms. Yeah. So good. Liam Cunningham, one of the most underrated actors working out there. He does such a great job in this show, especially in the first 3 episodes. After that, he takes a necessary backseat because the story's picking up. You need to focus on other things, and that's all I'm going to say. But there's a lot that he gives to this story, and it's so good. His relationship with a certain other character that I don't even know if it's a spoiler. The relationship he has with another character, because again, I haven't seen the original show.
So,
okay,
but I don't know.
Let's keep it safe then.
I think I'm like 80% sure it's not, but the other 20% of me is like, I don't want to ruin it for people. So,
because it's not a secret. Like even in the show, like 5 minutes in, 10 minutes, you're like, oh, that's who you are to one another.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's fairly early on in the first episode. Yeah. Ted is asking if they're doing a weekly release or dumping all at once. They're dumping all at once on Friday.
I mean, they're dumping part one on Friday.
Right, which is all we've seen. So 5 episodes, and they're all like 24 to 27 minutes. It's super bingeable.
Yeah, super. It's like a big movie, an epic fantasy film broken down into 5 parts, and then you'll get the sequel sometime later in the year. We genuinely don't know when it's coming out.
I know, we don't know. Kevin Smith didn't even tell us in the interview, although he did like invite us to. He's like, you guys can come over and we'll watch it. And I'm like, but like, really? Because I'll leave right now.
I'd say, are you paying for the travel? Because I will.
That's true. He's like, I just got the score for it and I'm watching it. And I'm like,
more scoring.
I know. It's so, the thing that I loved about this too is it's very in that style of every episode ends and you're like, I need the next one. But especially with the episode 5, I was like, are you kidding me, Kevin Smith? Like, you are making us sit with this cliffhanger.
Yes, I started, it's funny because I started to feel that more and more as the episodes went on, because I watched episode 1 as soon as I got it, and I was like, yeah, cool, nice, I'm into this. And then, for some reason, maybe I had other things to watch, and I need to give them priority. But I started watching other things, and a week or something after, I was like, oh, I need to keep watching. And then I always checked on embargo to see if I'm getting close to the deadline. And then, I'm not going to say when I got it, but I was like, oh no, I got loads of time, no worries.
I know, we got it a while back. I feel like
we got it a while back.
We got it
because I told you I was shocked and was like, so I just got it. If you want to ask for it, it's insane. And then episode 2 I watched, and then I'm like, oh okay. And then I watched episode 3 the next day, and then I watched the next day in the afternoon, and then I watched episode 4 at night. And then I watched episode 5 as well. And I'm like, oh, now I don't have anything else.
I know. Yeah, you're like, oh, this is
darn it.
Because the way, and that's funny because Kevin Smith said in the interview, he's afraid people are going to hate him for how he ends it. And I'm like, it's possible. Like, I have a love-hate relationship with him because of how it
That's ended. Not, unfortunately, for better or worse, that's not the reason some people are going to hate him.
People just... I know.
But they shouldn't. I'm not saying they should hate him.
Right. No, I know.
I'm just saying they will, unfortunately.
I know, it's true. People need to go into things with an open mind, I think. And just because, yes, understand this was your thing and you loved it in the 80s and it was your favorite thing in the whole world and you hold it up on this pedestal. It's reminiscent to me of Space Jam, honestly. Like, I just recently rewatched the first one and was like, yeah, I mean, it's not great. I mean, Michael Jordan is not a good actor, but like, it's fun. And then that's what you get with like a new legacy. People are like, it will never beat the original. And I'm like, you guys, this is like infinitely better than the original. Like,
I didn't get those people, but if I got those people, I would say, with all the respect, it's not that good.
Right. But you know what I mean? You hold this thing that you loved high on a pedestal. And I get that it was your childhood, blah, blah, blah. But like, you need to go in and be like ready for a new journey and a new take on these people. And if you can appreciate that, because I feel like this show is good for kids and adults, right? There's enough in here to keep it entertaining for adults, and where the other
for fans of anime, Jesus, of animation, because the animation is so good. Of fans of fantasy, fans of classic stories of heroes and villains, maybe simplistic, but they still have a purity to them, and they have a place. And look, if you watch it, you don't like it, that's fine. You don't have to. Not everything's gonna work, and maybe you'll freaking love part 2, and you'll tell all of us we're wrong because we'll hate part 2. Maybe who knows?
Who knows? You're right. And in the original, I don't know if you know this, they never actually fought Skeletor and He-Man. Never actually came to they never actually because it was way back when, and you couldn't hit people and blah blah. They never actually fought, and I never remember them fighting. And I looked it up. And according to the interwebs, that had never happened. So
this show is already better than the original then.
There you go. Exactly. But that's what I mean. There's things that they're able to do now. And it looks good while doing it. And the voice cast again. And the story that they're telling overall is so good. And I can't wait to see where it goes, because I'm something that happens towards the very end, not the big cliffhanger, but something that happens with a character I spoke about earlier. We can talk about it off camera if you don't.
Okay.
But there's one person's character arc had gone so well, and then maybe takes a step backwards a little bit. I love how they did that. And I can't wait to see moving forward what happens. It's just, it keeps.
I think I know who you're talking about. I'm going on the live chat, and I'm going to type it, and I'm just making background noise for it not to be an awkward silence. La 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 la.
But it's just
la la la.
I love your la 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 la. That's funny. Masters of the Universe No Way Home, says Ronnie. What are you talking about? Yes, exactly that, Ren. Exactly.
Because we don't know when the next one comes out.
Right, I know. But yes. I'm going to put yes.
Okay.
Even though I said yes out loud. That's exactly what, and I love how they did that. I thought that was
I think the reaction that character gives to that event, that happening, tells us that that character genuinely didn't know. And that the character's arc is not undone. But that's how I read it, at least.
Right. I just think it makes me so excited for what's to come. There's so many things that make me excited for the next part of this. And
yes. And I'm sure they're introducing even more characters.
I'm sure they will.
They go. I think we can say this. They go into certain flashbacks here to flash out the relationships of the characters and what they've been through in the past together or separate. And we see lots of characters that don't show up in the present because there's just not room for anyone else. So I'm sure we'll still do that in part 2, and we'll get even more characters, because I see someone asking about Stinkore, which again, since I didn't watch the show, it's a name I recognize because I've heard He-Man fans talking about Stinkore, but I can't visualize who that is.
Very quickly. So
okay, there was.
Yeah, I bet if you just Google Stinkore, you'll see the picture and you might remember. It's so quick. It's at the very beginning of one of the episodes. Yeah. But I think did every single episode have a flashback?
I don't think episode 5 had a flashback.
5 didn't. But
I don't think episode 4 had a flashback.
Yeah, you might be right. But I did like the flashbacks of
Yeah, I did too. I think it works really well. I think up to maybe episode 1 also didn't have a flashback, but episode 2 and 3 for sure have them.
Yeah. Yeah, because episode 1 was more like, this is the beginning of this story type of thing. Yeah. You're right. But I just loved how they did all that. It's just also good. It's so good. And that's what I want people to give it a chance, I guess. Don't go in because so many people are upset. And I guess apparently someone sent me this today in an email, because, people love to email me and to, I don't know, give me their opinions. But I guess Kevin Smith, a while back, said something about how he never was super into He-Man. So people are like, well, because he was never super into He-Man when he was younger, he's not going to do a good job with this. And I think you really need to move all that stuff out of your head and move everything you've heard out of your head, whether leaks, whether they're true or not, and just try. Yeah. It's 5 episodes that are half an hour each. I mean, it's not a lot of time. You can easily get through it and form your own opinion.
Yeah. And I apply that to everything. I go in, expectations are left at the door. It starts at a 0. It doesn't start at minus 50 or plus 50. Right. It's a 0, and the film or show has to win me over. And if it does, awesome. If it doesn't, well, that's fine. I've had many unpopular opinions in the past. We could dive into them. I've loved stuff everyone else hated. I've hated stuff everyone else loved. Cough, cough, Alita Battle Angel, cough, cough.
You didn't like it or did it? You didn't like it? See, my husband hate. Like, he's watched half an hour of it and he gave up. And I'm like, you gotta watch the whole thing.
I watched it all. And I still hated it.
Well, I can't believe how many people didn't like Malcolm and Marie. Listen, we could go on a whole thing about that. But I'm like, these people are wrong because that movie is...
#1 movie of the year still.
It's perfect. It's basically perfect. So whatever, people are wrong about that. But you're right, though. You need to go and inform your own opinion. And just because you hear people that liked He-Man say, oh, this happened. And also, I've had all these people come in my comments. I've watched it and I think this. I'm like, did you watch it, though? I doubt you really watched it already. Sometimes I don't believe these people. Well, first of all, thank you.
Super chat.
Zordak, no, I don't think.
Is Zordak a He-Man character?
I don't know. I've never heard of Zordak before, but maybe he may be the cosmic version of Black Panther. I need to figure out.
He basically looks like. Okay, I'll bring it up. Hang on.
Okay. Let's see.
Hang on. No. Where are you? Okay. Share screen, window. Oh, I have to open this in another tab. Sorry, guys. Sorry that this is on me. There's very little. Okay, there's a few animated from maybe it's from the 2002 show. But here he is. I'm sharing it right now. But most of them are like figure pics.
Oh, I got you.
He looks like a redressed Stinkore.
In it.
I don't think so either. I don't remember seeing him. I think this is the first time I'm seeing him.
But I don't think so. Yeah.
Yeah, me neither. I don't know. There he is in the original show.
Part 2. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
That's definitely from the original show, for sure.
You can tell.
You can tell. For sure. That's funny. Yeah, no, definitely didn't. But, part 2, and then part 2 is already being worked on. It's definitely coming. And then there may be more should it get good reception, which I kind of hope that.
And there's another show they're doing. I don't know if Kevin Smith is involved in that one, but from the info we got, it seems like it's more of a kids
there's like
show,
a kids
and it's called
version.
and it's called He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. So maybe it's just a polished version of the original one.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what it is. And Kevin said he was not not involved in it. But I can't remember if it's at the very, very, very big. It's actually his immediate response to my question to him, my first question to him in the junket. And he either said he was given the option or they just explained to him. I think they explained to him, like, these are the versions we're doing. We want you to do this one. So this is what this one's going to be, right? It's a spiritual sequel or continuation, even really, from the 80s one. The whole point is you can pick up after that final episode and like this would follow right into it, is kind of the point. He-Man Christmas special.
Is there Christmas in Eternia? Oh boy.
Sorry. Yeah.
Is
there Christmas in Eternia? Yeah, thank you. I wish. No. That's funny. I have this one, the bubbly water. Okay. Let's see. Space Jam. You didn't like Space Jam, Ronnie? Is that what you're saying?
I enjoyed Space Jam 2. I don't think it's a good movie. It's better than the first one. I'll say that. Maybe unpopular opinion, but I'll say that.
Well, it's definitely better than the first. It's like not even a question.
Yeah. It's too bloated. It's too long. But the fun parts are bigger in numbers than the fun parts of the first one. I think that's. I was talking about the first one when I said it wasn't that good, because I also watched it before the second one last week, and boy, it does not hold up. And I love that movie as a kid until the actual game starts. The takeaway for me from the original Space Jam is the 2D animations with the live action environments and people are really well done. They still hold up very well. Not as good as, say, Roger Rabbit, but still very good. And the actual game itself is really fun. Up until that, there are sprinkles of something that could have been interesting. I think Space Jam 2 is a mess of a film, but the entertainment quality of it is much bigger, whether you're laughing with it or at it.
I agree, I do. And I think with the first Space Jam, I hadn't watched it in years. And I wanted the girls to see it before we saw Space Jam 2. And my husband and I were like, looking at each other like, oh. They enjoyed it. They thought it was fun. But then when they saw this one, and they were like, whoa, it's so much better. And we were like, it's so much better.
Is.
It was made for the kids, and it's made for entertainment purposes. It's not made to be, a groundbreaking, deep thought movie.
And the whole film kind of portrays that. The meeting alone that LeBron James has with them, like how they come up with their ideas, they're basically poking fun of themselves or admitting the actual truth. I don't know, something in between that.
Yeah, I mean, he literally says that athletes shouldn't be actors, and we're like, yeah, okay.
He was right.
He pointed that out exactly. He's definitely right. I don't know.
He just looks confused out of the during the entire film, like he's wondering if he left the stove on. That's his face throughout the entire film.
It was when they like come back from halftime and he like does this smile, this like goof. It was like creepy. I was like, "What are you? This does not work for you."
What do you remember, or did you notice what was like the first impression you got that he's gonna be this bad? Because for me, it was right in the opening scene, not the opening scene, but the first scene of him as an adult, as himself,
at the basketball court,
where he's arguing with his son. You gotta fight for what you want, blah blah. Oh, dinner time, spaghetti and meatballs. Oh, that's my favorite.
I know.
And I'm like, oh boy.
You're like, oh, here we go. And then the dab part when he's like, "Did you say dab, Dad? Dab?" And I was like, oh no, he didn't just do that. Like he
doesn't even do it right. He doesn't even do it right.
It's like a half, like what is even? It's almost like a Thriller move, right? Like
it's probably he didn't fit in the room because his arms are too long or something.
I don't know.
I think his best. I think he gives a good enough performance when he's a cartoon. Those are the best parts of the film. I think he actually does something still not good but entertaining while he's a cartoon. But apart from that, as bad, and I think you disagree, but as bad as Michael Jordan was, and he is a bad actor, nothing wrong with that. Acting is not easy. LeBron makes him look like Marlon Brando to me. My God.
I think LeBron was better than Michael, but
okay.
I don't know. I mean, neither were good. So, like, I don't think either were, like, hire them now.
We're not really disagreeing, is what you're saying.
Exactly. Oh, back to Masters of the Universe. Chris says, anything Kevin Smith does, I'm there. Listen, I love him. I think he's great. And I really think he does a good job with this. I really do. I love the writing, the dialogue, the story. Yes, he's a showrunner. I think he has. Did we find out? Did he do a lot of the writing? I know he was in the writer's room. I'm sure he had a little bit of input.
Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
He wrote. He's credited for. I checked on IMDb. He's credited for 7 episodes in a group of I think 6 or 7 writers. Then there are 2 writers credited for 8 episodes. There's another writer along with Kevin Smith credited for 7, and then there's 2 credited for 1 each. Not sure if that's the same one or different ones.
Right. Okay. So he did a lot of the writing, or at least had an input. Which I figured, being the showrunner, usually they have some kind of input, at least where they want to go.
In television, showrunner basically means, it doesn't mean necessarily that you write each episode, but it means you give the basics of what's going to happen. Here's how it starts. I want it to go here.
Right.
And my Joker just fell. One of my Jokers just fell. On top of one of my Harleys.
Okay, that's perfect. I mean, that feels on brand, okay? It's at least...
It's the Mad Love Harley, but it's not the Mad Love Joker. But yeah, it doesn't mean necessarily that you'll write the script, but you'll write the story, which is basically He-Man says I have the power, and then that big thing happens at the end of episode 5.
Right.
He doesn't write it like that, but I can't say what he wrote.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, I'm just excited for what comes next, and I hope people like this. I mean, as of right before this, it had a fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. I was one of the fresh, so there was only one rotten review, which that's a whole conversation for another day. Everyone knows how I feel about that person, but you can go check it out and see who gave it a splat, and it shouldn't surprise anybody. But
I'm ashamed I didn't guess it myself.
I know. And you were like, I should have known. But yeah, so before we go, real quick, I got to get my daughter to cello. But Ren, why don't you let everyone know where they can find you?
You guys can find me on Instagram at RenVR93. More of a personal account, but I always let you know what I'm watching, when I'm watching, if I can tell you, which I'm watching something tonight that I can't tell you that I'm watching. And everywhere else at Ren Geekness on Letterboxd, Twitter, and YouTube. And there's a few reviews coming out very soon. I'm watching 2 things tonight. One of them I can't talk about. Another one you'll see me posting on Twitter in a few hours that I am now watching, and then hashtag the name of the movie.
I'm excited. I've got some stuff coming up. I think a lot of the similar-ish things this next week. And and Friday, guys, don't miss my interview with Kevin Smith. It's like 40 minutes long because he just yeah, but it's like super spoilery. So because he's like, oh, we've all seen it, so blah 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 blah, and I'm like, that's a huge thing that happened.
That's so a sign of excitement.
That's the thing. You could tell he really loved this show and loved working on it and has a passion for it and is actually really, truly proud of what everyone came together and did, which is why I love it. So make sure you watch it first before you guys watch that interview. But I'm putting it up Friday morning. So Ren, you'll have to check it out. He's just brilliant. I just love watching him talk about it. So.
Yeah, he's awesome. And I'm sorry, but I can say one thing that I'm not watching because I've already seen it, but I am posting either tonight or tomorrow. That's my Jolt review starring Kate Beckinsale, which comes out on Amazon Prime this Friday.
Yeah, that's what I was watching right before this. So I'm about halfway through, and so I'll have a review up soon. So, but I'm excited. It's better than I thought it was going to be. I'll say that. So far.
Okay.
We're halfway through. Halfway through.
So far.
But I went in with super low expectations too. I'll tell you that. So, and maybe I shouldn't have, but I don't know that I'm allowed to say that. So we'll both have our reviews up soon. So stay tuned for those. And thank you everyone in the chat for joining us today. And Ted says you're always awesome as a special guest. I concur, Ted. I agree.
Thank you very much. That is very humbling. Thank you all because I see a lot of people writing kind words. So thank you all so much. And thank you for having me again.
Of course, anytime. Seriously, that's why I like when things didn't work out for Loki last week. It's like, oh, come on today, and we'll talk about it. And I haven't watched. I have to watch the making of. I haven't watched it yet. But
me neither. I was trying to put it on the train, and I'm like, internet sucks here. I better not do this.
Especially if you're constantly moving, like on the train, it's gonna be you go in and out of service.
That's a whole nother story for me to attend screeners. It's a whole nother thing.
Oh, best YouTubers around, says Ronnie.
Oh,
thanks, Ronnie. All right, guys. Well, I'll see you guys at least next week, but live, and maybe before that. Who knows if anything interesting comes up. And I'm sure you guys will see Ren on my channel again soon. But thank you guys, and thank you